So we need to open the hearing and then we can hear from Director Manfred.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to open this hearing for the special session local contract review board at 9:47.
Excellent. Well, good morning, everyone. So the funding that we have in front of us expires at the end of the calendar year. We have to have it obligated by that time. So it doesn't need to be completely spent, but we do need to have essentially contracts signed for whatever we're going to be using it for. Just wanted to open with that because we are in a bit of a time crunch, and that is why we are proposing an alternative procurement process. I think it's important to note that the procurement process, even in the alternative format that we're asking to be approved, is still a competitive process. So they will still go out and people will still have to bid on it. The project itself is for housing that would be utilized for a specific population of people that we currently don't have a lot of options for when we're talking about housing them. It's for our community restoration individuals. So those are people who are coming out of the state hospital in some cases. In some cases, they've been civilly committed, but don't require hospitalization. It could be someone coming out of residential treatment. So it's a variety of folks, but usually it's someone who's transitioning out of a higher level of care. We have obligations as a community mental health program to provide supports to those individuals. They do not have a requirement to engage in those services, but we do have an obligation to work really hard to try to get them to maintain appointments with our facilities. If they're on medications, support however we can for them to obtain those and stay on them. And one of the things that our team who really provides the services and coordination for these individuals has noted is that the ones that come and are transitioning back into the community who have stable housing fare much better. They do much better. And so sometimes people are coming back and they're going to a family home. Sometimes they're independently living somewhere. Sometimes it's a foster home. But there are individuals where there's just not a housing option for them. And so this is what this program or facility really would be geared towards. We're looking at a proposed 8-studio unit complex that would be replacing where the current county IT houses are. So using both of those lots to build that out. The request would be that one of those units be used for staffing, but we want to create it as a studio just so that if we were ever transform it into something else, that we had it set up for that. We are not anticipating needing any additional operational costs. We will be staffing this with existing staff who are already tasked with providing care to these individuals. It really is the capital piece, which is what makes these funds so perfect for it. They're one-time funds specific for things like capital costs. So happy to answer any other questions you might have.
Christian, you want to give us a little background on the legalities of?
Yeah, so under ORS 279C, all construction projects are meant to be competitively bid using an invitation to bid, low bid process. There is a method to take an exception to that, which is what we're doing here today to allow for an RFP. We're pursuing an RFP through a design build process. And so what needs to happen is this hearing, and then the board will discuss and deliberate and decide whether or not to grant an exemption from the low bid process to allow for a different kind of competitive process. So there's still going to be a competitive solicitation. The RFP is going to go out later this week. Anyone who's interested will have an opportunity to bid, submit a proposal for the project. So it's just an alternative form of competitive procurement. And as part of the process, we did draft and make available to the public proposed findings. They've been available at the front desk of the Board of Commissioners office for a couple of weeks. We posted notice as was required in the newspaper. And so as part of your decision today, you would be adopting the proposed findings, which spell out the statutorily required basis for granting this exemption.
Chair, I would move approval to authorize the exemption.
I think I need to close the hearing first.
So you need to make sure if there's any other public comment,
Yep.
anyone else who wants to provide testimony as part of the public hearing on this matter.
Is there anybody online or in the audience that'd like to give input? Seeing none. All right, at this time, I'm going to close the public hearing at 9:51 and open it up for deliberation. Commissioner Sterry.
Thank you.
I would just move approval of the exemption for the design build.
Motion's been made. Any further discussion?
How long do the residents typically stay, or how long would you forecast?
That's a
to-
great question. We've never done a project like this before.
Right.
And so as we're building the building itself, sort of through a parallel process, we're defining all of the programmatic pieces, including eligibility, what would have someone removed from the property. Largely, we're looking at having it be low barrier, but still maintaining safety of the individual and of course the individuals living in the units around them. So we imagine it probably being somewhere between 2 weeks to 6 months, which is sort of the gap that we have in some of our other programs that are either longer term or shorter term.
With those calculations, what would the average be for a yearly of people that we can be able to service with these 8 units?
We have an average of around 4 to 6 people at any given moment on community restoration.
Okay.
At any given moment throughout the year.
Nice. All right. Motion's been made. Is there any further discussion?
None for me.
None. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to this project. Item 3 is other business as necessary. Do we want to bring up the fact of the process that we just went through is going to be negated now?
Yeah, yeah. So this is the last time because again, when we did the updated procurement policy, it eliminated the LCRB. And so future matters similar to this will be handled during a regular board session.
Okay.
So this is
Delegated the powers and authorities of the LCRB to the Board of Commissioners. But the notice, and this was my doing, it stated that the board was going to meet in a earlier public hearing as the LCRB. So in order to remain in compliance with the notice, we went ahead and held this special meeting.
Okay.
But the next time, Ken's right, we can be able to consider these LCRB matters as part of a regular Board of Commissioners agenda.
All right. With that, I'm going to close out this meeting at 9:54. Thank you. And we got about 6 minutes and we'll open up our regular formal for the day.